Good evening, everybody. Welcome to day 4. It's good to see you all. Just wave the hand so everyone sees us as in their news feed. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm just gonna wait again. You guys know the drill. Wait for a couple of seconds so people start joining in. And let me set up things. I logged in about now 2 minutes earlier, just so that I give people a chance to come in. What's up, Ali? Do you hear me well? Let me know, Ali, if all is well. You see my face. You're going to see my screen too or not. Here, I'm going to share my screen. Just want to make sure you guys see everything before we get busy. What's up, Mikael? Getting fans, Excellent, excellent. Well, I'm going to wait for a couple of minutes so that people join in. Thank you. So great. I hear you guys. You hear me. I see you. I'm almost ready, setting up everything on my side. We're early, so that's a good thing. Get people to join in. Excellent. Perfect. You guys see me well? Perfect. So for those who are coming online, how many videos have you attended live so far? I've done 4, so I made sure I was available for the last 4 live videos. Anyone else? Perfect. All right, I'm ready. Make sure all is prepared. Excellent. So today is going to be somewhat of a very short day. We're going to be focusing primarily on creating a brand, choosing a brand name for your online store. So that's really the focus of today. Keep in mind that obviously it's not the end of the world if you don't have a brand name immediately, but right now, what I'm trying to do with regards to this challenge is make sure that you guys see yourselves go through some sort of progress. I gave you the plan template for you to complete. You've introduced yourselves. You got familiar with some of the tools that I was recommending. So as you can see, there's a lot of things I want you to focus on that kind of move the needle forward, and just making sure that you see progress, because when we see progress, when we experience it, that's when we really feel good about ourselves, and there's some sort of momentum for us not to quit. So today is one of those days. I want to make sure that you guys have some additional progress with regards to creating your brand, and that's where the focus is going to be today. So, all right, so let's get started. Even though not a lot of people online still, nonetheless, I'm sure people are busy with dinner, with the family, you name it. So today's topic, again, is all about choosing a brand. And when you're starting out to build an online store, a lot of times, and I see this a lot within the industry or within the network groups that I host on Facebook, as well as every time I speak to someone, I feel that people get excited about launching an online store. They come up with the domain name, they create business cards, they go the whole way, and then eventually they never launch. So I don't want this to happen. Nonetheless, we got to think about the brand name that we want to focus on when we launch the online store. So there's a couple of pointers that I want to kind of mention before we get started. So one of them is, do not sell products. Build a brand instead. The last thing you want is go out there into the marketplace with, let's say, 1 cup right here, and that's it. That's all I'm selling. Versus you going out in the marketplace with a story, with a brand that people can connect to, something that differentiates you from everyone else out there. So the brand somehow has to be something that you can see yourself building out in the future. Products come and go. Brands, on the other hand, tend to last longer as long as you keep innovating, as long as you keep remaining top of mind and you're pushing new products, you're pushing new solutions for your clientele. So really, when you're creating a brand right now, avoid focusing just on selling a product. Your online store is just the tool right now that you're going to have. It's a platform that you're developing. It shouldn't be just focused around cups. I'm using this example here because that's the only thing that I have right here, but you get the point. Also, when you come up with any brand name, avoid hard to spell and long names. Here's a trick. If you have to tell someone how to spell your company name when you're telling them about your product and what is it that you sell, you have a problem. So really make it short and simple. You don't want people to ask themselves, well, how do I spell? Is it two R's, three S, two S's, or is it double T? What is it? Like, is there a silent H? And I'm not sure. Whatever it is, choose a name that is easy to spell so that people can easily remember it and then eventually go on Google or search it online or go to your website with ease without having to say to themselves, what was it? That you remember it. The same thing goes with long names. You want to keep it short, keep it simple. You don't want to have 3-4 different names when you're building out your brand name. Keep it simple. 2 words, 3 maybe, but try to limit the amount of words so that people could remember it and not just spell it. Don't limit your business growth. What do I mean by this? So there's a couple of things you have to consider. Let's say, for example, I'm going out there into the marketplace and I'm thinking about selling yoga equipment. And I am only thinking about right now, I have a yoga mat that I want to sell and nothing else. I'm not thinking about selling, let's say, water bottles or yoga leggings or the blocks that you go on, like on the mat. I'm just thinking about a mat. And then I come up with a brand name that is yogamats.com. I'm just choosing an example. Well, in the future, if you decide to sell other things other than mats, things that are within the whole yoga category, then you might be limiting yourself to only this mindset of, okay, people might only know me as a website that sells mats for yoga. That's it. That's all. That's why it's very important for you to come up with a brand name that eventually allows you to grow, to branch off to other product categories if needed, as long as you remain within your specialty. You don't want to start launching a brand name that in the end you're selling one side, you're selling t-shirts, and on the other side, you're selling power drills for equipment. That's not what we're trying to see here. What's important is for you to come up with a name that allows you for business growth within your category, within your industry, and not limit yourself to only a specific type of product, such as yoga mats. Hope that makes sense. Fourth thing that you need to consider is when you're coming up with a brand name, get feedback from people. Don't sit right now. We're all sitting in a place. Obviously, we're all confined in our homes with the situation out there. Nonetheless, you have to make sure that you don't rush this process. Brainstorm brand names for your online store, your brand, your brand of products. But at the same time, reach out to friends, family, coworkers, people on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, whatever it might be. Gather some feedback. You can just message people directly. You don't have to announce it that you're coming up with an online store. Maybe you don't want to go out there immediately. Reach out to a couple of people and ask them, what do you think of this? What does it tell you, this name? What does it describe? What do you think lies behind this brand name? Could they actually explain, oh, I get it. You sell yoga products or yoga mats. Great, you're on the right track. If they have a hard time understanding what the meaning is, then these are things that you have to take back as feedback and see if you can improve your ideas for your company, your brand name. So again, keep that in mind. You really have to think about how important it is for you to really consider the importance of the fact that the brand has to resonate with your target audience. Here's a trick also. Why not reach out to people that fit your target customers and then use that as an example to reach out to them and say, you know what, you're the type of customer I'm targeting. What does this name mean to you? And start gathering feedback. Again, do not rush it. Just take your time in this process. The whole point is to enjoy the process of coming up with a name that eventually you'll use to grow across the internet. The last thing that you have to really consider is make sure you can get a domain name. I recommend that you focus on .com. Now, if you, obviously within your plan, you decided to sell products not only to the US, but also to Canada. Let's say you're just limiting yourself to Canada and you're telling yourself, that's it. I know for a fact I'm not going outside of Canada. The .com is not available, then maybe go with a .ca. But if you're thinking about anything online, I personally recommend go with a .com. But here's the catch. Sometimes it's hard for you to find a domain name that's not registered, okay? So you're gonna see right now, we're gonna go through a quick exercise of figuring out how to search domain names. And you'll notice that, guess what? All names are taken. That's why it's very important for you to be creative, as long as you remain with these points that I just mentioned right here. Good? Now, let me just make sure I am something happened to my screen. So if you guys have comments, again, for those who are joining us here for the first time, make sure you could put in the comments your questions, and as soon as I'm done, I'm gonna cover that. I just wanna make sure let you guys know about that. Perfect. So next things that you have to consider. Now, when you come up with a name, before you go out there and you start using it, you need to do some research about it. First of all, do some searches on Google and Amazon to see if there's anyone else using that name. Now, at this stage right now, do you need to do a trademark search? Look, if you're just going through the challenge, you're acquiring a skill, you don't need to go all out. But if you're dedicated right now and you want to really go out there and you're serious about launching your online store, you're ready, your products are there, you're about to launch this, you know what? Put in some extra time in making sure you do your research on Google, on Amazon, and take it a step further, especially if you're really proud of this brand name and you want to really put it out on all types of products. You're creating your private label brand, you name it. I would highly recommend you make sure you search on the trademark websites for the USA and Canada and the respective ones within your country, whether you're in Australia, Europe, and so on. I have these two right here. They're in the toolbox for this challenge. So the links are already there. It's been updated. So again, I would take that extra step to make sure that no one else has this name. No, I'm not infringing on any trademarks. It's a good practice. You have nothing to lose. Again, it does not mean that you have to do this in part of this challenge. It's only when you're really serious about launching this business and you want to make sure that you're doing it the right way. That's why I'm putting it out there. My last advice is to speak to a lawyer. Whenever it comes to trademarks, you want to get that final kind of reassurance, speak to the experts. I'm not that person. I even reach out to lawyers to make sure that all that stuff is handled properly, especially when there is a big investment from my part. There's a budget allocated for branding, for launching a new business. We want to make sure we do it right. The last thing we want is go out there in the market. We've spent so much money on design, branding, products, labeling, and you've ordered your inventory. You're really going all out into this venture. And next thing you know, someone else has this name and they can come after you. So that's the last thing that you want to happen, especially if you have limited budget to launch this online business. So consider these things as tips on how to go about coming up with your brand name. So the last thing I want to remind you is, guys, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't overcomplicate things. And really for this exercise, this challenge here, you do not want this brand name to stop you from progressing in the challenge. You don't need this, by the way. I'm just putting it out there as a task for you to do so that people see that, okay, great. Well, you have to come up with a name whenever you want to launch an online store. You have to do this before you get started. Nonetheless, you don't need it. Why? Because when we're going to build out the store inside Shopify, everything could be changed afterwards. You can go through the whole challenge. They're going to give you a temporary domain name under Shopify. So it could be myshopify.com. So you're going to have a temporary domain name assigned to you. The name of your store can change. The logo can change. All of that stuff could be done even after 21 days. So this exercise right here is simply to get you going, to get the wheels rolling in your head right now, to come up with some ideas on how to go about building a brand. Again, don't sell products. Build a brand so that in the future, this brand finds products that will solve people's needs, challenges that they're facing. You know, that's how you have to go about it. That's all the theory today. Let's go inside the toolbox so we get started. So I'm going to show you. Let me just go inside. Okay. So I'm going to go inside day 2 in the toolbox that I've shared earlier on in this challenge. Make sure that everything is perfect. Sometimes I got to make sure that my screen is being shared. So I go inside right here. So task number 1, click on the toolbox. As soon as you get in there, you guys should have access to this right away. If you scroll down right about slide number 8, we're going to start with slide number 8 right here. Click on, so the first thing we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a couple of tools you have to use in this exercise so that you come up with a domain name. a brand name for your online store. So you click on this, for example, the business name generator, and I'm using a tool provided by Shopify again. And it's a great tool. It's free to use. It's going to be beneficial to you to come up with some ideas. So let's say, for example, I'm going to use again the example of yoga. Yoga. I'm thinking about yoga tribe, let's say. All right. So I'm thinking about, so what happens is I put in a couple of keywords. I could put mats if I want to, if you're stuck on the idea of just launching with mats. Just put in a couple of keywords that you think would be, eligible for what it is that you're trying to achieve, and generate some names. And what you're going to see is Shopify is going to recommend a bunch of ideas for you to consider. Now, don't click on this because they're going to ask you to create a store. That's not what we want right here. So what I'm telling you here is take note of a lot of the ones that you like. So for example, Yoga Tribe is an example. I like this. I came up with this right now, so I'm actually pretty impressed. But Yoga Tribe here, yoga, I don't know if there's anything. So you know what, let me just take off tribe. Let me see if I want to sell something within yoga. Yoga money, pirate, yoga man, that's interesting. Yoga man. I know, I'm sure it's going to be hard to find as a domain name. So the idea behind this is take a list of all the ones that you like. There might be some pages as well for you to consider, because there's about 2 pages of ideas. Put in a couple of keywords. I mean, you don't do this in 10 minutes. You take your time, have an Excel sheet sitting on Google Sheets, and start writing down everything that you like, that sounds good, and that is creative. Again, looking at the tips I provided you earlier on. And from there, you do this. So I have a couple of ideas now. Go back to the toolbox, click on the domain name search. And again, it goes on Shopify. We're going to search for some of these domains to see if they're available. So let's say, for example, I'm going to use the first one I was using. I like this more because it seems that it's going to be a lot easier. So Yoga Tribe, you never know. Imagine if it's available. So check generate domains. Let's see if that is available. Unfortunately, Yoga Tribe is unavailable. You do have other options. It's not something I'm considering. And you do this for every single domain or idea that you found. So let's say, for example, I'm going to do something like this. Try this. Sometimes you want to add, let's say, for example, shop, yoga, widgets. Add the word shop or get. There's some interesting ways or creative ways of adding an additional verb, let's say, before the name of the store, just so that there's a possibility that you might find it. So right here, okay, this one is available. Don't register it. Again, don't do anything yet. The whole idea is right now, this exercise is for you to see if there's a domain name available. If it is, then take note of this, put it in your Excel file or sheet. Try to find a couple of domain names that may be available, because maybe later on you might change your mind in terms of the brand name that you're going with. So consider that. So don't just say, well, that's it. I found my name, shopyogawidgets.com. That's it. That's all. I'm not changing my mind. I have it. It's ready. Then you only realize afterwards that I'm not in the mood for this name anymore. So have a couple of options. 2, 3, 4, 5, doesn't matter. I mean, again, the whole idea is for you to do this exercise so you get familiar with this. This is the process that we're going to go with regards to coming up with a brand name. Again, make sure you search Google, make sure you search Amazon, make sure you search the trademarks if you want to take it to the next step. But really just making a quick search on Google and Amazon gives you a sense of what to expect in terms of what's available out there. Now, if you go back to the toolbox, again, if you guys have questions, ask right away. So we're getting close to the end of this. If you go inside the toolbox, and you'll also see that I've added the trademark searches right here. So you could do your, oh, I made a mistake. Okay, I'll update that for you guys. Just there's a space. So United States Patent and Trademark Office. You have also one for Canada. I sent you guys to the homepage. There's trademarks, patents, you name it. It's all there for you guys. Unfortunately, I don't have all the countries in this exercise, but you get the idea. You can also take it a step further. You don't need this, but again, we're building something. This is a fun exercise. I want you guys to really feel that, you know what, you're going all out. People want to feel proud of their brand. And when you go out there and you start telling your friends, guys, look at the store I built. You want to be proud of it. And if you come up with a beautiful brand name, a domain name that you feel proud of, and then you add on to it a slogan, and eventually tomorrow we're building out a logo, you're creating a logo. It's like almost having a little baby growing up, because it was born and next thing you know, it's reality, it's happening, you see it right in front of you. People will sense how proud you are of your online store. And that's why sometimes you want to step it up a little bit even more further with a slogan if you want. Again, I'm just going to put in, for example, yoga. You know what? I'm just going to do yoga for men, just so it's easy for me. So unzip a yoga man. No, that we're going to skip. Yoga is us, yoga men. Let's say yoga men. Yep, that's it. I don't know, whatever it is. Come up with slogans that you could use, again, to make it fun, make it memorable. The whole point of this exercise is to make it memorable so that people remember you. They might not know you sell mugs. In the end, they buy your mugs because they remember what you stand for, what's so unique about your brand, what is it that you do beyond this product, and how in the end this product is going to make them feel is a reflection of what your brand stands for. So you want to make sure your brand name is memorable. Eventually, it might grow and become something big, as you see them going on right now across the internet. And that's it for today. Very, very short session. The exercise right here is for you to go in. So today's tasks are the following. You simply go inside the unit of day 4. It's going fast, right? And right inside here, I'm just gonna make sure I edit this post for you guys. I have to give you the toolbox, sorry. So I'm just gonna do this. I totally forgot about this part. There we go. Perfect. I really love the way Facebook made it easy to manage this challenge, because trust me, it's a lot of work sometimes. And this concept of units is great because it just makes it all easy for me to organize things, as well as for you guys to find everything that you need. Perfect. And that's it for today. I'm going to go over now to the questions to see if people have specifics that I need to answer. All right, let's see. Masea Pani, I hope I pronounced your name right. You're on live, but you can't hear me. I did a test. Maybe you gotta, in the bottom, there's an X on the volume. You may have to put it on. Don't worry about it. It's recorded, so don't feel bad. You can just go back. Let's say try with another device. But usually when you press the live, you have to make sure that the X is turned on the volume, so it's unmuted. Try that. But don't worry, it's not lost. The recording is available. You can ask your questions away. So don't worry. It's not too bad for you. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. All right, let's see. Any other questions? Ali says, I love this tool. Yeah, I love, you know what? I love all the tools I'm going to be sharing because they actually work really well. Simo says, sounds good. Perfect. You know, so it's very hard to see all the questions. Any questions specific to the brand, coming up with a brand name? I don't see much. If you can't hear me, you can still ask your question. Yeah, so don't worry about it. Any questions? Very simple stuff today. Again, there's no excuse why you can't do this. That's the whole reason why this challenge has been simplified for you guys. Every day, one task, just go out there, do it, watch a quick video, and you're done. So let's get that done. Perfect. What about name check? Okay, so Simo, there's a lot of websites. There's name check. There are many websites you could use to come up with a name. I'm not gonna share all of them. There's way too many. What I want you to really understand is the whole concept behind this exercise is to come up with a name based on the tips I have given you earlier on. Just make sure you follow those tips. It's going to help you really figure out the right brand name for your online store. but there are a lot of tools. So there's nothing wrong. You don't have to use the Shopify one. And the idea is afterwards, when we build out an online store in Shopify, you'll be able to at least have the name ready and then register the domain name at the end of the challenge. You don't have to rush it even. So really the exercise there is just to make sure it gets done. You're welcome. Perfect. I don't see any questions. Other than that, I don't want to keep you guys waiting. I want you guys to enjoy your evenings as much possible, because right now there's so much to do. And I hope that this challenge is going to add something interesting to your evenings when you're sitting at home with the family or by yourself or whatever it is. At the end of the day, let's be productive. And I hope to see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time as well. Thank you very much. Take care.